Cat-Griz week, second time around, home court advantage this time. What are you taking most from the first game into this one?
We got to clean up a lot on the defensive end. Had ourselves in a lot of number situations. Montana certainly exposed us with that from the three-point line, and just want to make sure that we're more solid there.
Maybe building on that, any takeaways from this last road trip that are going to be a point of emphasis?
Yeah, I think the big thing from the road trip is we got a full week to get back to our habits. We've been doing so much one game prep for each opponent in that rhythm. And when you have the single game, it allows you to kind of get back to building your champion habits back.
Mara having a career high game, she was talking about how you kind of implored her to shoot more. So how pleased were you with her just
well, isn't it that where coaches say I was right? I'm just kidding. No, I mean, we have been trying to get her shot ready all season long. She's got a great three, and every kid has like a penetration point that there's their money position. For her, she's got that unbelievable turnaround jumper. She loves the pull-up jumper. But we just want her to trust what teams give us. And a lot of times, instead of driving from there, it is taking that shot. And Idaho State was doing a great job plugging the paint. And so that was the best look that we had. And it's great to have her shot ready.
Yeah, she had three buzzer beaters, two, at the end of the quarters, and that one kind of long one to beat the shot clock in the fourth. Was there a favorite one of those groups?
Well, that reaction was it wasn't the possession that we hoped the possession to be for that to be our best look, but also it was like, well, Mara's in the zone right now too. I think my favorite three was probably the end of the clock, one of the quarters where we put the ball in Esme's hands to get the last shot on the board, and she drove and kicked to Mara in the corner, and we put points on the board, and that was the end of the quarter. I'm like, those things add up, and that was a really important possession for us.
Haley's been big contributor on the defensive end. You spoke about it already, but she continues to just be that motor that keeps going. What have you continued to see from her, especially on these road trips?
The big thing for Taylor is, usually freshmen have a hard time being able to duplicate what they do at home on the road because there's a level of preparation. You're traveling, body's getting worn out, and Taylor's body does not get worn out. She's definitely got a motor that's very unusual, doesn't get tired. I think one time I have heard for her ever ask for a sub, and she's just relentless. And so you're able to do that home and away, and she just gets to go out there and really is building great chemistry with teammates. And, what they're seeing from her is it's contagious at a great level.
For the seniors, not that they need extra motivation, but they're kind of their careers as far as in this building is winding down. So how do you, as the coaching staff, kind of make sure that they're still locked into the ultimate goal, not just?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of season still left. I think they know every single game is important. And I think if we just focus on getting better today and moving the needle as far as each one of us individually, we've really challenged the team. The standard is the standard. And how does every single one of us get to our full potential as we hit the Big Sky tournament? They're really, ultimately, that's the focus right now.
I was just going to say, maybe the only thing that hasn't gone really well this year is just the starts for your games. There's been a lot of failing early. Any kind of any trend you've seen as far as why that has?
Yeah, I mean, start of the game, you're kind of trying to figure each other out. It's a little bit slower pace of a game. Typically, you're not, starting off a game full throttle in your track shoes, and I think there's a component of that as well. I think our team plays at its best when we are starting to get some stops, some steals, get out and running. That tempo plays to the strength of us, and so we certainly do need to get better in some more of those half-court situations. But we do start a very veteran squad, and I think that's really important. And I like the rotation. I think the team likes the rotation right now for how we're getting production out of everybody. But yeah, I think a few better starts would be a great place to get us.
Right. And obviously, it hasn't cost you. I mean, both NEU games, you guys built double-digit leads. So, KG talked about just never feeling, nervous at any points in these deficits in these games. So, I mean, how do you feel when, or do you have?
Yeah, I mean, you feel like your team has the level of maturity to take some runs. I think we have an understanding of respect in this league, but every opponent as well, that teams are going to have runs on you, and they're going to take advantage of what you do defensively. And a lot of times those things show in the beginning of the game, and then you have a chance to kind of adjust to it throughout the course of the game. But this team, their maturity has a way of kind of weathering storms and knowing that is something we're going to have. And by the time we get into that second half, that's where we start to kind of build our confidence of, okay, so here's where our depth really starts to come through. and we want to take advantage of that.
Maybe this goes back to the standard is the standard, but how hungry do you still see everybody being this late in the season? Or how hungry are you asking?
As far as any team I've ever had, I feel like this team's as hungry as any of them. We came back, we drove home late after the Idaho State game, and yesterday was our first day back after Sunday off, and Mondays are usually kind of a sluggish kind of game or practice to get your bodies working, and we had one of our best practices ever, so I feel like they're locked in. They know that the season is really short now, so there's an end goal for this team, and I know that they didn't feel great about some of the things that we need to get better from, so it's a good place for them to be.
Of course, there's still a lot to play for, but your team is at least assured of one of the top 2 seeds in Boise now. How proud are you of them giving themselves supposedly the easiest path once you get there?
Honestly, Parker, I ain't even focused on what seeds at this point. I just want them to get their habits this week, and I think that is probably what I'm most proud of this team at this point right now is they are playing extremely selfless and hard and playing for each other, regardless of what our record would be right now. I'm really proud of that because this is a team that has a lot of talent, and that's hard to do. Of having great players come off the bench, great players starting, how we rotate, and how that has to work. All of them are making it work, and I'm so proud of them.
Speaking to that, Mary talks about how much the depth has helped her body this year versus last year. She feels a lot better. Just in your opinion, how much they've impacted this team, both offensively?
Yeah, I'm like that's a critical piece. I'm like, last year, I don't know if there's a better word to describe. I'm like, we were worn down by this time of year for how hard those kids had to compete to keep themselves, give themselves a chance with their defense with very, very little numbers. We were probably doing a lot of walkthroughs at this point, whereas right now I feel like this team's extremely fresh, and we've kind of been able to build off of what that team really started on the defensive end last year. I'm like, that was a very special defensive team, and this year we've added legs and we've added some offense, and I feel like they're kind of getting the fruit from that right now. But yeah, I'm like, you still have to manage the time of year of February, so our practices are somewhat shorter, but I think the kids are in a good place.
Tied the program record for in-season winning streak, so I guess just speak to just that accomplishment.
Well, I certainly haven't talked to the kids about it. I'm sure they've seen it from all of you on social media. I'm just trying to really focus on their champion habits right now, and I know there's a lot of season left, and there will be a time to celebrate all those accomplishments and moments. Right now, I just want them continuing to get excited for playing hard for each other and finding a way to get better today.
Speaking of a different winning streak, the Lady Grizz haven't won in this building in over a decade. So just what is it about this environment that just makes it difficult for them?
Well, I'm not focusing on that either because they gave us a great scare at their place, and they had a great look at the end of the game. And we did not close out that game well. We kind of had a lead in the third quarter, and we had an opportunity to take advantage of that, and we didn't. So I think we're going into this game knowing that it's Cat-Griz week. Anything can happen, and we need to be prepared. We need to be better in some of our habit areas. One of those areas is certainly rebounding, and that habit has to get better for us right now. It's been very inconsistent, and that's where things can come back and get you. And Idaho State really put us on our heels because we gave them so many extra possessions. So I just want to start with that going into Cat-Griz.